What up, fuckers? It's Andy here. You've caught me riding my loyal steed down a country road. I'm a brooding monster hunter, plying my trade. They call my profession beast slayers in this world, and we are in high demand due to the frankly absurd number of monsters roaming the lands. I'm not on the clock right now, so I'm just going to ignore that. When I'm not beheading vampires or piercing the hearts of mud yetis, yes, they're a thing, I like to sink my hours into epic fantasy RPGs such as The Witcher 3, The Wild Hunt, and Final Fantasy XVI. The Witcher 3 was developed and published by CD Projekt Red for PC, PS4, and Xbox One. It has since quite improbably been ported to the Nintendo Switch and also received next-gen upgrades for the PS5, Xbox Series X, and PC. Final Fantasy XVI was developed and published by Square Enix in 2023 for the PS5. And as of 2024, PC. The Witcher 3 won Game of the Year at the 2015 Game Awards, while Final Fantasy XVI was nominated for Game of the Year in 2023. But who gives a shit about the Game Awards? Let's decide here and now which game is actually better. So join me as I check my inventory for a potion that cures saddle-chapped thighs for Video Game Deathmatch. The Witcher 3 versus Final Fantasy XVI. I just arrived at Dunstan, a bustling market town in the northern reaches of the kingdom. The king's guards are watching the market closely, but I should be able to slip by without much notice. People tend to get a bit weird when a dude with multiple swords rides in on horseback, usually covered in some sort of blood. Hey, you there, homeless child.
I'm not homeless, I'm just dirty.
Oh, shit, sorry. Do you know where in town I could find a bath, a hot meal, and maybe a bed for the night?
You'll want the sneaky vowel, over that way.
Thanks. Here's a gold coin. Ornately shaped, which makes it very hard to properly flip, but watch this. Ow! Shit. Sorry about that. Just in case this is your first time with Video Game Deathmatch, each game will compete over 5 unique categories. The Witcher 3 and Final Fantasy XVI will be competing in presentation, story, side quests, combat, and RPG systems. The game with the most wins will be declared the superior RPG. Ah, there's the sneaky vole. Right, I'll see you inside. I just don't want you to see me getting off the horse. I'm really bad at it. Round 1. Presentation. Oh, fuck shit! Lively crowd tonight. I'm just going to park myself up at a table and check out the menu. Okay, so it mostly looks like different ways to cook turnips. I'll check the sandwich menu instead. Okay, no, that's just shredded turnip inside 2 turnip leaves. Okay, fine. I'll just order something. Barkeep. A bowl of turnip soup with a side of croutons, please. I mean pieces of turnip. So, for presentation, The Witcher 3 favours realism over fantasy. It's drab, but deliberately so. It makes sense for that world. There's a texture here, a grit. It acutely conveys the toll that war and horror have taken on this world. It's a world in entropy. Men wage endless wars, burning the world around them, and horrifying monsters from beyond infest whatever is left. There's an aura around these cities and villages, and even the country roads, from the visuals to the haunting medieval Central European score, down to the line readings of nameless NPCs. There's a mournful pang that reverberates through every scene. Geralt is distinctly designed, from his shock of white hair, his broad shoulders, the craggy voice, and his double sword setup. Even Roach is an awesome character in its own right. The Wild Hunt themselves are terrifyingly executed. belonging to the fantasy subgenre scary-ass knights, which also happens to include the likes of the ring wraiths. They have the sort of presence and stature to deserve their place in the subtitle of a game. Every major side character feels memorable, the major cities and settlements feel lived in and authentic, and it's backed by some of the most stunning music ever committed to a game. Oh, thank you, barkeep. Here's a tip. Fuck, sorry about the eye. I only have these weird shaped coins on me at the moment. So anyway, Final Fantasy XVI's art design is incredibly strong, even by the standards of the Final Fantasy franchise. The characters look memorable, not strictly believable, because this is a JRPG, but they feel defined. Every main character, and especially every antagonist in Final Fantasy XVI, sticks in the mind. Oh god, this is awful. Ugh. The actual world design is, at times, stunning. There are these incredible cities on giant glowing crystals, landscapes scarred by the debris of old gods, towers built within the giant weapons of these fallen titans. Really inventive and visually exciting spaces, but a lot of the world is composed of stretches of grass or desert with the odd generic village dotted around, which is disappointing. It puts all of its focus on the cities that only appear in the main campaign quests. There's an imbalance to the way the world is designed. So much focus is placed on a handful of places, so the rest of the world feels somewhat flat and formless. Oh, fuck. I should have got the sandwich. The Witcher 3 created a world that felt lived in. Even as an open world space, every section of the map feels like it matters. Final Fantasy XVI is made up of a series of much smaller maps, and yet it still struggles to find things to do within those spaces. It's frustrating because the design of the cities and the implied lore surrounding it all is really excellent. What pulls it all back for Final Fantasy XVI, however, is the overall presentation. The epic musical orchestration, backed by vibrant light shows that occur during fight scenes, and the incredible cinematic visuals during boss battles. It can sometimes feel a bit like information overload, but the spectacle outweighs the noise quite comfortably. Ugh. Okay. This is hard to call because Final Fantasy XVI obviously has the superior graphical presentation due to being a whole console generation more advanced, whereas The Witcher 3 does a better job of encapsulating the themes of the story and the world building through its visuals. But Final Fantasy XVI does a great job of balancing the gritty dark fantasy elements with the more fantastical JRPG tropes. Ah, fuck's sake, I got soup on my pantaloons. Ah, gotta get a napkin.
Oi.
Which way you walking, for fuck's sake? Okay, here's the napkin counter. Wait a minute. There's a notice board above here. It's got local jobs going. Oh well, fiddle my dick. The local lord's son has gone missing, and the reward is 500 gold coins, presumably normally shaped. Good God, this could change everything. I'll do it. So, it's standard practice for adventurers to hire a minstrel to perform songs celebrating their exploits, but I'm on a budget right now, so I've hired a local child alcoholic to announce the winners for each round. Take it away, Barnabus.
My name's not Barnabus, I'm called Elvira.
We don't have time for this, Barnabus, just tell us who won the round.
Sorry, sir. Hear ye, hear ye.
You don't need to say the hear ye bit, that's a town crier.
The winner for this round is Final Fantasy XVI.
Thank you, Barnabus.
Can I get a drink before we leave? You said I could.
Yes, fine. Jesus Christ, you're a thirsty little bastard. Here, take this and bring me back change. Round 2. Story. We've ventured out into the surrounding wooded areas to search for the Lord's missing son. I've heard talk of bandits in the area, so I'm hoping to lure them out with my extravagant wealth. Boy, I sure do love my bizarrely shaped coins. They hold nearly the exact same value as regular shaped coins. No one? Ah, just look at them. So fancy in their shape. So sharp in their corners. And look at how they flip. A marvel of engine. Ah, my bastard eye. Ah, Barnabus, I dropped the pouch. Oh, fuck. Trap. Bollocks. Barnabus, run and get help.
Yes, my lord.
So, for the second time in my life, I appear to be dangling upside down in a trap. Wait, no one's here. They couldn't even be asked to ambush me in person. Well, I'm sure they'll come by soon enough. In the meantime, let's talk stories. In The Witcher 3, Geralt of Rivia is tasked with tracking down his adopted daughter, Ciri, whose unique gifts have made her the target for the Wild Hunt, a group of spectral warriors from another dimension. His journey sees him meet with emperors and kings, meet noblemen and peasants alike, and help them with their traumas, both supernatural and man-made. It's an epic story of destiny, running from it, embracing it, shaping it in your own image. It's about the blight of war, the toll it takes on the countries that host them, and the people who fight them. And most essentially, it's a story of parental love and responsibility, and learning when to let go and allow your child to make it in the world by themselves. Geralt is a stoic character. He doesn't go through much in the way of character development in the game. He's more passing through other people's stories, which is a crucial role in a lot of great fiction. Just think of Mad Max, for example. Geralt is a dependable constant in the centre of utter chaos. This is really Ciri's story, and she goes through a lot of big changes as we follow her from her life as a young witcher to a grown woman getting ready to face her destiny down. The rest of the supporting cast are superbly detailed and perfectly performed. Everyone leaves an impression on you, even if I'd have to check a wiki to remember all of their names. A sign of how well told this story is and how strong the writing is in The Witcher 3 overall is players don't need to play the previous 2 games nor to understand the significance of past events. It's the conclusion of a story, and yet it feels like a perfect entry point into it. I cannot fault the writing here at all, apart from the somewhat often contrived ways the writers engineer Geralt into his next sex scene. The Witcher 3 is an incredible story, massive in scale and intimate in its emotions, that also occasionally operates with the same narrative through line as a softcore porn. Alright, here we go. The bandits have found me. Look, lads, I'm not here for any trouble. I'm just a humble beast slayer turned more generalised mercenary. I'm looking for a missing noble failson. I don't suppose you guys have seen him?
Get him!
Ah, fuck. Okay. Good thing I got some minor magical powers.
Flame of Ulin!
Oh, fuck. Right, lads. I really didn't want to do this, but you kind of forced me into it. That still went better than I expected. It's just a pity I had to kill all of these syphilitic goons. They might have had some useful information. You may be wondering how I know they all have syphilis. You're just going to have to trust me that it's pretty obvious. So when I first booted up Final Fantasy XVI, it felt undeniable that producer Yoshi P had watched a lot of Game of Thrones before sitting everyone down to storyboard the game. Medieval-style kingdoms waging war, scheming, backstabbing aplenty, foul language, and a bit of nudity. This is a Final Fantasy game, so there's also magic crystals everywhere. The Mother Crystals are giant structures that can be used by non-magic users to create magic. The Branded are people who can create magic without the crystals, and they are generally treated horribly by non-magic users. You play Clive Rossfield, the eldest son of Duke Elwyn, and appointed shield, aka superpowered bodyguard, of his younger brother Joshua, who was bestowed with the powers of the Phoenix. In this story, every major power player has an icon on their side, someone possessed with the powers of an old god. These are classically the summons in other Final Fantasy games, now portrayed as kaiju-like creatures. Things go horribly wrong for the Rossfield family when they are betrayed from within, their father is murdered, Joshua is attacked by a new fire icon, Ifrit, and Clive is captured by the enemy army and enslaved as a soldier. The story employs a lot of time jumps, and eventually Clive finds himself escaping his captors and joining up with sexy Sid. Sid. He's a sexy rebel leader who sexually plans to liberate the world of magic by destroying the Mother Crystals, in a presumably sexy fashion. The story is about slavery and the institutionally emboldened bigotry and cruelty that comes with it. It's about breaking down corrupt systems, represented in this case by the Mother Crystals, taking down the people who benefit from the status quo, and challenging those afraid of what life outside of that might mean. And it's a fantasy story, so naturally it's about destiny. Old gods, ancient powers, prophecies, and the like. Clive is a gruff, brooding, crazy handsome loner, played to perfection by Ben Starr. He goes through a complete and satisfying journey as a character. The story is always centred on him and his experiences. He is easily one of the best Final Fantasy protagonists in a long time. The supporting cast are solid, with a few huge standouts, like Sexy Sid. There's a lot going on, and in fairness, it does take a long time getting to the point. A lot of Japanese scripted RPGs tend to enjoy explaining things in great detail. It offers a much more even playing field, it makes sure everybody's on the same page. But it does lead to a lot of padding and taking the scenic route to get to its actual point. None of this is strictly a bad thing, but you're probably going to work out where things are going far ahead of the characters, and it can be quite irritating waiting for them to catch up. The mid quest line, mid is a character name to be clear, I'm not calling the quest line itself mid, even though it is. This particular quest has you running around collecting stuff with the promise that it'll help you progress the story, and it turns out to be a ruse, ultimately going nowhere. There are numerous campaign quests in the game like this that felt like they should have been optional side quests. They don't contribute anything meaningful to the main story, and they only serve to slow things down. However, once it hits that final stretch, it becomes some of the best storytelling in Final Fantasy history. Cosmic scaled, epic storytelling, emotionally charged, gripping and propulsive. It just takes a long time to get there. Barnabus hasn't come back yet, so I'll have to do this bit. For its consistency, its nuance, focus and comparative subtlety, the winner is...
I'm back, sir. I didn't find any help, but I did find this rock shaped like a bottom.
Yeah, great work, Barnabus. You can finish my thought.
Okay, sir. I don't know what I'm doing. What if I never find the Lord's Son? The world is a cold and indifferent place, and it scares me. I cry a little when I'm in bed at night, but I don't think Barnabus notices, but...
No, not that. Announce the fucking winner.
Oh yes. The Witcher 3.
This lead was a big bust. I'm going to have to look somewhere else. Round 3. Side quests. I caught word of a dragon hunting the local area. It's possibly unrelated to the Lord's missing son, but you never know. Sometimes drunk knobheads like to wander off the beaten path to take a piss, and suddenly they're getting mauled by a monster. It's happened to us all. So I'm heading into the fields around the town with some bait. Shh!
I love this goat. Can we keep him? I shall name him Barnabus Jr.
I'm not sure who's getting the concept of bait less, you or the goat.
Probably the goat, sire.
Shut up. While we're heading that way, let's talk about a critical staple of any good modern RPG, the side quests. The main campaigns are always big and epic and daunting, so sometimes you need a break from all that, and you just want to help out some peasants resolve an underlying issue, or uncover some sort of sinister secret about an unassuming looking village. The Witcher 3 has some of the best side quest writing in the history of RPGs. There are stories of haunted houses, people falling on hard times, love and longing, serial killers, werewolves, family trauma, misguided trolls, and a frying pan. Those story themes that I mentioned earlier quite smartly also feature in many of the memorable side quests. It ensures that the side quests are not distractions from the main story, they complement and deepen the things the main story is trying to do. The quest structure is generally quite interesting, mixing up fetch quests with combat-heavy quests or dialogue-driven stories. Sometimes these side stories link together into longer threads and get to mix and match the different playstyles. And even when the actions are on the rote side, the writing is so strong that it always covers up the more obviously gamified beats, such as gathering X amount of Y. It never gets dull. So we've reached the clearing where I was told the dragon was last seen. Scorch marks all over the grass. A strong scent of sulphur. A dragon's definitely been here. Well, it's weird. This whole clearing is surrounded by dragon thorn. Dragon thorn is a toxic weed that's particularly potent against dragons. Even the smell usually repels them. This dragon isn't behaving right at all. I'll just take a little bit of it just in case. You never know. Okay, little fella. You just wander around here until a dragon comes by and eats you. Don't give me that. Don't try and make me feel guilty. Final Fantasy XVI side quests, at their best, have an old school BioWare feel to them. Simple in their design, but buoyed by some really good cutscenes. I got a real nostalgic pang while playing through them, as though I were replaying Knights of the Old Republic or Jade Empire, but the writing isn't as strong as CD Projekt Red's work, and the quest structure is also far less interesting. Oh, here it comes. No, don't run! Ah! Barnabus, chase that goat!
Yes, sir!
Okay, easy now. Nice dragon. Nice dragon. I don't want to hurt you, I just want to examine your teeth for the flesh of a rich person's son. Fuck! Okay, we're doing this, I guess. Okay, the crossbow didn't work. Ah! Fuck! Fuck! Ah, it bit me! Ah, I had to stab him in the eye to get him off me. Ooh. Shit, he's rushing me. He's a tough one. He's circling above me. Oh shit. I need to crush up some dragon fawn real quick. Apply it to the crossbow bolt. It might be my only chance. Meanwhile, let me finish my Final Fantasy XVI thoughts. At their worst, the side quests suffer from the same sort of design philosophy as an MMORPG, which makes sense since it shares the creative DNA with the hugely popular Final Fantasy XIV. But in a single-player RPG, it kills any momentum you have when every side quest you embark on feels like it's designed for grinding XP and loot rather than telling a story. Most side quests are fetch quests or completing bounties on a specific amount or style of monster. It's very much designed to be repetitive, and it over-relies on the gameplay loop to keep things compelling rather than telling gripping stories with interesting characters. He's coming back. I can understand Final Fantasy XVI's quest design appealing to certain gamers, especially MMO players, but it simply does not work for me in a game with such an emotionally charged and dramatic main campaign. No side quests here truly feel like they're enriching the wider world or Clive's story. They largely feel like distractions. Hopefully this crossbow bolt covered in dragon fawn does the trick. Here goes. Oh shit, it worked. Now's my chance. Yeah. Fuck this. Headed. Tough out. There. Finally. Whew. I should probably examine the body, see if there's any of the Lord's Son digesting in there. What the fuck? The dragon just turned into a man. Oh, fuck. It's a were-dragon. I've heard stories about these things, but I've never seen one out in the wild. I need to find the head. It's disappeared in the long grass after it shrank back to human size. I'll just check the torso, see if there's any identifying... Wow. That is quite the penis he had. I don't like commenting on it, but it's hard to ignore. Sorry. I'll just keep searching the grass. Oh, fuck. Stuck my toe. Oh, that's it. It's the head. Oh, okay. That face looks familiar. Oh, no. Oh, no, 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 no. I brought the wanted poster with me. Just let me check. Oh, fucking God, no. The severed head matches the portrait I was given of the Lord's missing son.
Sad news, sir. The goat fell down a ravine.
Great. Now I can't even eat that goat. This day just keeps getting worse. Tell him who wins, Barnabus.
The winner for this round is The Witcher 3.
Right, Barnabus, can you help me carry this naked corpse back to my horse?
Wait, carry a what?
Round 4. Combat. This bite is really starting to itch. We're nearly back in town, and I have to explain why the Lord's missing son is now missing his head and pants. This isn't going to be fun. Before we get there, let's start talking combat. Combat in RPGs is a key element. Even spanning back to the pencil and paper days with Dungeons and Dragons, the genre hinges on sophisticated combat systems to carry the action. Video game RPGs require combat systems that pull the player in, whether it's turn-based combat or real-time. The combat needs to work, or a lot of the quests you embark on are going to suffer. The Witcher 3 features the following combat inputs: slash, heavy attack, an ARD button, which is basically the magic power button, a hot wheel to select your ARD plus your ranged weapon, a ranged attack, naturally, a parry button, a dodge button, a roll, and buttons for using potions or applying oils to your weapons. That's a lot of controls to keep track of during tense moments, but the action is mercifully quite slow. Not strictly in a negative way, it's just the style of the game. Everyone is swinging around big swords and hefty axes, all kitted out in heavy armour or unforgiving fabrics. Everyone's moving slower in general, and fights require more time and thought to land hits. The speed, or lack thereof, suits the style of game. There's more thought going into the way you fight an opponent than your standard action RPG. You need to study each monster's strengths and weaknesses, and where possible, prepare ahead of time for the fight. Part of the combat is the stuff you do before the fight starts. That adds a lot of depth to the strategy. Certain combinations of magic and oil will give you the upper hand. Some might argue it feels a lot like homework, and the number of inputs to use is a lot to juggle at times, so I can see why somebody might not enjoy it. But the death animations alone add a great deal of reward when taking down an enemy. We're nearly at the town square now.
I don't feel good about this, sir.
Okay, Barnabus, you can go stand away from me, just in case they decide to form a lynch mob and tear us apart. It'll give you more time to run.
Thank you, sir. I'll remember you.
Well, I was hoping he'd be a bit more loyal than that, but to be fair, I have been underpaying him to an almost offensive degree. Final Fantasy XVI's combat was designed by Ryota Suzuki, whose previous credits include Devil May Cry 5. This makes it a more intense, action-heavy style of combat to what fans of Final Fantasy are used to, but it's a very versatile and dynamic combat system in its own right. You have one button to hit, you hold it down if you want to hit harder, you can jump to avoid low attacks and dodge regular attacks. And parrying is as simple as swinging your attack at the exact same time as an enemy attack. This greatly reduces the number of buttons needed for combat. On the magic side of things, it comes in the form of icons. You absorb the powers of these godlike beings through the game, and it allows you to perform special attacks. You can fire generic magic, which is just a firebolt, but you can also perform iconic feats, which are a standard move unique to the icon you've selected, and can be performed with little to no cooldown. And then there are iconic abilities where you hold down R2 and then hit a corresponding face button to perform big powerful strikes that operate on large cooldowns. There are also shortcuts for potions, but these can be swapped out for control inputs for your NPC allies. There's a limit break of sorts in the game, which builds up in 3 phases and can be accessed at any point once the first bar is filled, getting stronger with each bar fill. This gives you improved speed and attack power for any attack you dole out when activated. It sounds like a lot to keep track of, but it's very user-friendly and very intuitive. Everything that's related is grouped together to keep it tidy and easy to memorise, and it keeps the user interface as unobtrusive as possible. Things move swiftly in combat, yet you're never left missing a button at a crucial moment. Everything flows together beautifully, and the animations and visual presentation of each fight is, as established earlier, absolutely stunning. The icon battles are big and cinematic in nature, and often change paths to feel more like shooters. These ones are used sparingly, only when the story requires them, and they never outstay their welcome. However, some of the other boss battles can go on for quite a long time. It can feel like they're never going to end at times, but they are incredible spectacle, so you stay engaged the entire time. The dynamic, action-heavy, real-time combat was a major departure for the Final Fantasy series, and that came with criticism from traditionalists and diehards. The developers of Final Fantasy XVI decided the story they wanted to tell and the game they wanted to design was better served with this style of combat. And that's fine with me. It works. It's a great combat system. If they had tried to change the formula and done something as half-assed and undercooked as Final Fantasy XV's combat, I'd get the complaints. But change is only a bad thing in my mind when it doesn't work. And this worked. So despite controversially switching up the entire Final Fantasy formula, Final Fantasy XVI succeeded with a combat system that stands proudly beside the likes of God of War Ragnarok or Spider-Man. Barnabus?
What's that? It's the Lord's son.
Okay, let's all calm down. If it's any consolation, I got a good look at the Lord's son's appendage, and he was very gifted in that department. This is surely a credit to your Lord's bloodline.
Molester.
Molester. He's a molester.
Why did I think that would help? Back off, please. I don't feel right. My bite feels like it's on fire. Oh fuck. Were dragon.
One more for the road, I guess. The winner for this round is Final Fantasy XVI. Now time to run away screaming.
Round 5. RPG elements.
What the fuck? Why am I in the sky? Why is the town on fire? Oh no. I've gotta get out of here. I can't believe this. Wait, hold up.
Ugh. That's better. I had a piece of the blacksmith stuck in my throat. I better land in this clearing and try and make sense of it all. Okay, so wings, tail, claws, napalm throat. Yeah, it looks like I'm a were-dragon now. Great. I'm just gonna wait out my transformation back into a person. So let's talk about how these games handle as RPGs. The Witcher 3 has an insanely detailed series of RPG systems. There is your character layout, your gear, your weapons, your potions, your inventory. You can craft new potions here, you can upgrade certain weapons or armour with the runestones. These can be inserted into any available socket spaces to apply new bonuses to your attacks. Things like increasing armour piercing, attack strength, or adding a percentage chance your enemies set on fire. That's a fun one. Usually. You have a series of 4 different personal abilities: combat, signs, alchemy, and general. Each one has 5 aspects that can be unlocked and upgraded. And these 5 aspects come with 4 subspecialties. For example, if you choose combat, you can choose between fast attacks, strong attacks, defense, marksmanship, and battle trance. If you chose to focus on fast attack, for example, you could choose between upgrading muscle memory, precise blows, whirl, or crippling strikes. If you chose precise blows, you can upgrade that to up to 5 levels. Oh, looks like something's happening. Oh, God, this is unpleasant. Oh. Whoa, holy crap. I'm a person again. And super naked. Oh, I need a moment again. Let me sit down on this mound of dirt. So each unlock can be equipped to Geralt and can be collected in groups of 3 and enhanced further with mutagens, which can help boost the stats of specific ability types. The potency of this boost will increase depending on how many of your abilities share the same colour code as the mutagen. If that sounds like a lot, it is. The inventory system is as vast and unwieldy as you'd hope for in a classic RPG. You can gather together all manner of junk Some of it might not even seem like it's going to be useful, but it might be down the line, so you should probably just keep hold of it. The Witcher 3's RPG systems are so involved and make you feel like you're in full control of your character's style and ability. You can customise your strengths depending on how you want to play the game. Maybe you want to give your melee combat a major boost. Maybe you're going to be leaning on those magic signs in fights more. Maybe you're going to be abusing potions. It's all down to you. It makes you feel in control. Okay, this dirt is starting to chafe my asshole, I won't lie. I'm going to stand up. Final Fantasy XVI is lean. Very lean by Final Fantasy standards. Gone are the days of managing an extensive inventory and upgrading your abilities and magic powers. It's a lot more simplified to the point where you could argue it's not really involved at all. The whole thing is structured more like a diet MMO, collecting gear and materials that will help you unlock new gear. You can sacrifice your existing gear to build newer and better equipment. But the gear you gather along the way in the main campaign feels plenty strong enough to satisfy. There's very little incentive to hunt down and build your own materials. It feels very hands-off, so it doesn't alienate someone who doesn't want to bury their heads in stats and XP grinds. But the whole deal with RPGs is that people play them to bury their heads in stats and lose hours to XP grinds. The drive to grind just isn't there, there are no side quests worth putting your time into, and the side gigs lack significant enough storytelling to encourage you picking them up. The gameplay loop is exciting and frenetic, yet the game does very little to incentivise you engaging with it for XP. It assumes you'll grind for the sake of grinding, which is a very MMO mindset, whereas a single player campaign needs something extra. The game doesn't have that, and the main campaign gives you enough gear and XP to finish the game without delving into any side content. It's lacking to say the least. Leveling up is also very hands-off, but that's fairly standard for Final Fantasy. The most you can really do is upgrade your individual icon attacks, choosing individual abilities to improve, selecting which ones you want to equip to each icon, and work on those. But that's about it as far as character customization goes. So, because of the depth and variety of RPG systems available to you, RIP Barnabus, I'm really sorry about all that. The winner for this round is The Witcher 3. I really thought this one might be the one that works out for once. The final verdict. I'm just here wandering through a forest, in the nude, trying to find something to shield my genitals from the incessant insect bites. The winner for this episode of Video Game Deathmatch is The Witcher 3. It is simply put one of the best Western RPGs of all time. Impeccably written in both main campaign and its side quests, and set in one of the most stunningly realised immersive gaming worlds of the last two generations. And with its new next-gen spit polish, the game holds up stunningly well to this day. Final Fantasy XVI is a strong, unique entry in the franchise with a lot of positives going for it, but it's far from one of the best examples. The nature of what a Final Fantasy game is really depends on the person who's talking at the time, and which Final Fantasy game they played first. My first Final Fantasy game was Final Fantasy VII, so I have my own expectations and standards, and a love for wildly inconsistent tones. Final Fantasy XVI wasn't really for me, but I saw a lot of value in it. Ah! Fuck! Someone just shot me in the fucking ankle with a crossbow. Oh, by the 7 rim-jobbing hells, that hurts.
Found you at last.
Who the fuck are you?
I was hired by the local law to hunt down his missing son. Heard rumors that a dragon snatched him in the night. Been looking for you for 2 weeks now. Didn't realize it was a were-dragon all this time.
Have you got a cold or something?
No, this is just how I talk.
Okay, but there's been a mistake. I'm not the dragon that killed the Lord's son. That was, well, I guess technically I am. I'm not the dragon you were hired to find.
Just to be clear, you are a dragon, and you did kill the Lord's son. So you can see where I'm coming from, right?
Yeah.
So, are you going to go quietly, or is this going to be a fight?
I'm not even going to bother. Your swords look massive. And is that a utility belt with bombs attached?
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
Yeah, nah, fuck this. Just chop my head off and be done with it, okay? Just let me do my outro first.
I don't know what that means, but I'll give you however long it takes for me to coat this blade blades and dragon fawn.
Cool. Great. Thank you. So, thank you for listening. If you like the show, please follow or subscribe on your podcast platform of choice and recommend us to a friend. You can follow me on Twitter at truly_defective. Thanks as always for listening. I'll see you again soon, no doubt. And in the meantime, don't forget to get a life and...
There you are. Thanks for the tip. It was right where you said he'd be. Here's your pay, as agreed.
Not a problem, sir.